A king sits on a stolen throne. His fingers, Edomite fingers, press a royal seal into wax. The document beneath his hand is a death warrant for infants, and somewhere in the blood memory of this moment there is a bowl of soup. This bloodline of murder began with a single meal. One verse in your Bible declares that God hated an entire nation before it existed, before they drew breath, before they sinned. What did they do to deserve it? The answer is worse than you think. In the next 40 minutes, you will trace a single choice through 2,000 years of war, betrayal, and divine hatred, from a tent in Canaan to a palace in Jerusalem. If you have ever wondered whether one decision can curse your descendants, and if you are still here at the end, tell me in the comments which moment haunted you most. Then stay. It begins inside a woman's body. Rebecca is pregnant and something is wrong. The children inside her are at war. She can feel them struggling, not kicking, fighting. She cries out to God, "If it is like this, why do I go on living?" And God answers, not with comfort, with a sentence. 2 nations are in your womb. 2 peoples will be separated from your body. One will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger. This is not a prediction. It is a verdict delivered before the trial begins. 2 boys, 2 bloodlines, 2 destinies, sealed in the womb. The first child comes out red, covered in hair. The Hebrew word is admoni, ruddy, flushed, the color of raw earth. They name him Esau, and the root of that redness, Adam, will become the name of his nation, Edom, the red land. His name is his destiny. The second child comes gripping his brother's heel. They call him Jacob, heel grabber. From the first breath, one is reaching for what the other has. Esau grows into a hunter. Wide shoulders, sun-darkened skin. He moves through open wilderness like he owns it, tracking game across the hills south of Canaan. He is magnificent. He is physical. He lives entirely in his body. Jacob is the opposite. Quiet, interior. He stays near the tents, close to his mother. He calculates. He waits. 2 brothers, 2 kingdoms already forming. One built on appetite, the other on patience. And then comes the day. Esau stumbles back from the wilderness empty-handed, starving, his body screaming for fuel. He smells it before he sees it, red lentil stew bubbling over a low fire. The wet red sound of it, steam curling into the desert air. Jacob is stirring the pot, watching. Esau collapses near the fire. "Give me some of that red stuff. I am about to die." And Jacob, without looking up, says 5 words that will reshape the ancient world. "Sell me your birthright first." Esau does not hesitate. "I am about to die. What good is a birthright to me?" He swears an oath. He eats, he drinks, he gets up and leaves. Genesis records the aftermath with devastating precision. The Hebrew word is vayavez. Esau despised his birthright. Not lost it, not forgot it, despised it. The text is precise about this. He looked at the invisible covenant of God and decided it was worth less than lentils. Esau chose what he could taste over what he could not see. The bowl was warm for 5 minutes. The birthright was eternal, and every generation after him would inherit the appetite without the blessing. Remember this bowl. You will see it again, because what begins as warm lentils in golden light will end as something you cannot look away from. Now, here is where it gets uncomfortable. The prophet Malachi records God's own words. "Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated." And the Apostle Paul in Romans drives it deeper. He says this was declared before either child had done anything good or evil, before birth, before choice. You are uncomfortable right now. Good. You should be. How can God hate someone before they exist? Is this justice? Is this sovereignty? Or is this something darker? Hold that question. The next 2,000 years will answer it. Esau moves south. He settles in Mount Seir. Red sandstone mountains rising from the desert floor like dried blood. This is Edom, the Red Land, named after the stew. He marries Canaanite women. He marries into Ishmael's line. Genesis 36 records it plainly. He braids two cursed bloodlines into one. Edom is not just Esau's family, it is a convergence of rebellion. Look at those mountains, red stone under red sky, named after red stew. This is where the curse takes root, and this is where a nation will rise. Not from promise, but from appetite. Not from faith, but from fury. The land itself looks like it is bleeding. But Esau is not done. The birthright is gone. And now Jacob is coming for the blessing too. Isaac is old now. His eyes are clouded. White cataracts, the world reduced to shapes and shadows. His hands tremble as he reaches out. He can feel death approaching the way blind men feel weather. He calls for Esau. His voice is thin but deliberate. My son, hunt for me. Make me the savory food I love, then I will bless you before I die. These are not casual words. The patriarchal blessing is a one-time irrevocable transfer of divine inheritance. Once spoken, it cannot be recalled. On the other side of the tent wall, Rebekah presses her ear to the fabric. Her face hardens. She remembers the oracle. The words God spoke when the boys were still inside her. The older will serve the younger. God said it, and Rebekah decides she will make it happen with goatskin and stolen clothes. She moves fast. She kills 2 young goats. She cooks them the way Isaac loves. Savory, rich. Then she takes Esau's best clothes, heavy with the smell of open fields and sweat and dust, and drapes them over Jacob's narrow shoulders. She wraps the goatskins around his smooth wrists and the back of his neck, the rough hair against pale skin, the smell of a hunter on the body of a deceiver. Jacob enters Isaac's tent carrying the food. His hands are shaking. Father, Isaac turns toward the voice. Who are you, my son? I am Esau, your firstborn. The lie fills the tent like smoke. Isaac frowns. Come closer, let me touch you. Jacob kneels. Isaac's blind hands move across the goat hair on his wrists. The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. He hesitates. He smells the field on the clothes, and he blesses. The words pour out like oil that cannot be poured back. May God give you the dew of heaven and the richness of the earth. Abundance of grain and new wine. Nations will serve you. Peoples will bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers. Genesis 27:28. Spoken, sealed, irreversible. The blessing has left Isaac's mouth and entered history. Then Esau comes home. He carries fresh game. He cooks it. He enters the tent smiling. Father, sit up and eat the food your son has prepared. Isaac's whole body begins to shake violently. Who was it then that hunted game and brought it to me? I ate it all before you came. And I blessed him, and indeed, he will be blessed. Have you ever watched someone realize they have been betrayed by the people they trust most? That is what this tent holds now. Esau screams. Genesis 27:34. He bursts out with a loud and bitter cry. The Hebrew word is tza'aka, and it is the same word used for the cry of Sodom's victims before God destroyed the city. This is not sadness. This is the sound of a man watching his future die in front of him. Bless me too, Father. Do you have only one blessing? The Talmud in Sotah 34b preserves a tradition that Esau wept so violently his tears burned marks into Isaac's robe. Rabbinic memory refused to let this moment be quiet. Isaac answers his firstborn, but these words carry no richness. Your dwelling will be away from the earth's richness, away from the dew of heaven above. You will live by the sword, and you will serve your brother. Not a blessing, a sentence. Everything Jacob received, Esau is told he will live without. Richness, rain, peace, gone. Then Esau makes a vow. Genesis 27:41, quiet now, the screaming done, cold. The days of mourning for my father are near. Then I will kill my brother Jacob. This is not grief talking, this is a blood oath, and it will outlive Esau by 1,000 years. The bowl of stew is cold now, but the hunger has not died. It has transformed. What began as appetite is now rage. What began as a trade is now a war. The stew Esau swallowed is swallowing his bloodline. Jacob flees into the night. No possessions, no provisions, just the stolen blessing wrapped around him like armor he does not yet understand. Behind him, the tent glows amber. Inside it, Esau turns a bronze blade in his hands, waiting. You are watching the birth of the longest family feud in human history. Not Hatfields and McCoys, not Montagues and Capulets, Jacob and Esau, Israel and Edom. It will last 2,000 years, and it will end with murdered children. Have you ever lost something you could never get back? Not because it was taken, but because you treated it like it did not matter until it was gone? That is what is burning inside Esau right now, and it will never stop burning. Esau builds his household in Seir. Genesis 36 lists his sons. Eliphaz, Reuel, his chiefs, his kings, an empire forming from fury, and behind the mountains thin smoke rises, almost invisible. You do not know what it means yet, but you will. Jacob becomes Israel, Esau becomes Edom, and 400 years of silence will separate them. When they meet again, Edom will stand in the road and say, "You shall not pass." 400 years have passed, 4 centuries of silence between the sons of Isaac. Israel has been in Egypt, they have been slaves, they have been freed, they have walked through the Red Sea on dry ground, and now they stand at the border of their brother's land. 400 years, and the grudge has not aged a single day. Look at this camp. Hundreds of thousands of people in the desert south of Canaan. Tents as far as you can see, livestock, children, the elderly. They need water, they need shade. And between them and the promised land stands a mountain range made of red stone. Edom. The only fast road north runs straight through it. Moses sends messengers. Numbers 20:14 records the words exactly. Thus says your brother Israel, you know all the hardship that has found us. Our fathers went down to Egypt. We lived there many years. The Egyptians oppressed us. We cried to the Lord, and he heard. Please, let us pass through your land. We will stay on the highway. We will not touch your fields or your vineyards. We will not drink from your wells. The Hebrew word he uses is achika, your brother. He is reminding them, we share a grandfather. Isaac's blood runs in both of us. This is a family plea. Edom's answer comes back like a blade. Numbers 20:18. You shall not pass through, or I will come out against you with the sword. No conditions, no negotiation, no counteroffer, just a threat. Brother calls to brother, and brother answers with bronze. Moses tries again, Numbers 20:19. We will go along the highway. If we drink your water, we will pay for it. Just let us pass through on foot. Nothing more. You can hear the desperation in the repetition. He is not demanding, he is begging. And Edom says no, again. Then the army appears. Numbers 20:20. Edom comes out against Israel with a large force and a strong hand. Armed soldiers line the ridge above the road, bronze weapons catching the sun. They do not want payment. They do not want promises. They want Israel to suffer in the desert. And Israel turns away. Numbers 20:21. No battle, no miracle, no fire from heaven. God does not intervene. He lets the rejection stand. And that silence from heaven is louder than any thunder. Israel walks the long way around, through more desert, more heat, more death. That night, an old woman sits near a fire in the Israelite camp. She is from the generation that remembers the stories. A young soldier stares at the Edomite mountains glowing red in the moonlight. The old woman speaks. My grandmother told me about two boys in a tent. One sold everything for soup. The other stole what was left. We are still paying for that meal. The soldier squints at the mountains. They look like they are made of dried blood. The old woman nods slowly. They are. But God sets a boundary even on the curse. Deuteronomy 2:4. He tells Israel, do not provoke Edom. I will not give you any of their land, not even enough for a footprint. I have given Mount Seir to Esau as a possession. Even hatred has limits. God gave Esau a mountain, just not the promise. The stew has become a wall. What Esau swallowed in a tent, his descendants now enforce with swords. Appetite became rage. Rage became policy. A bowl of lentils is now a military blockade. This is what generational hatred looks like. It does not always swing a sword. Sometimes it just stands in your path and says, you cannot go where God told you to go. You know someone like this, not an enemy who attacks you, but a presence that blocks every road forward. Every door closes, every path narrows. And you wonder, is this opposition? Or is this inheritance? Is this your Edom? But while Edom stands on the ridge thinking it is won, a prophet named Balaam looks toward those same red mountains and opens his mouth. Numbers 24:18. Edom will be conquered. Seir, his enemy, will be conquered, but Israel will grow strong. The first death sentence spoken over Edom, delivered while Edom is still celebrating. Behind the mountains of Seir, the thin smoke is still rising. Closer now. You have seen it before. You still do not know what burns, but it is waiting for you, 500 years ahead in time. Israel walks the long way around. Edom watches from the ridge. They think they have won. They have no idea that the man who will conquer them is already being born in the tribe of Judah, in the line of Jesse. His name will be David. 500 years after the stew, 300 years after the blocked road. Israel has a king now, not a prophet, not a judge. A warrior king with an army at his back and a God who fights beside him. And he is coming for Edom. 2 Samuel 8:13. David strikes down 18,000 Edomites in the Valley of Salt. The text does not linger on the battle. It does not need to. 18,000 men, dust, blood, bronze crashing against bronze. The screaming of the dying carried across the valley floor. When it is over, David puts garrisons throughout all of Edom, and the text delivers its verdict. All the Edomites became David's servants. An Edomite chieftain stands on the walls of Bozrah. He watches David's banners approaching through the dust. He knows the old stories. Every Edomite child has heard them. The older shall serve the younger. Isaac's words to Esau, spoken in a dark tent over stolen food. You will serve your brother. The chieftain grips the stone parapet until his knuckles whiten. It is happening right now. in front of his eyes. His son stands beside him, young, terrified. Will they kill us all? The chieftain does not look at the boy. His voice is hollow. Your great-grandfather's grandfather stood on a ridge and watched Israel walk the long way around. He thought we won. He was wrong. The boy presses closer. Will they kill us? No, that would be mercy. They will let us live as servants. And that is exactly what happens. Israelite soldiers garrison every Edomite city. They eat at Edomite tables. They sleep in Edomite beds. An Edomite child watches foreign soldiers eat his father's food while his father stands silent in the corner. The prophecy made flesh, the older serving the younger. But the curse does not die, it relocates. 1 Kings 11:17, a royal Edomite prince named Hadad escapes David's slaughter as a child. He flees to Egypt. He grows up in Pharaoh's court, eating Pharaoh's bread, waiting, always waiting. Edom does not forget. Edom never forgets. If you open Google Maps right now and search for Basra, Jordan, you will find a small village called Busera. The walls are gone. The chieftain's palace is dust. But in the 1880s, archaeologists discovered copper smelting furnaces in the Araba Valley nearby Solomon's mining operations, built on Edomite backs. The copper Edom dug from its own mountains was carried away by Israel's king. Even the earth served. Solomon builds his port at Ezion-Geber on the Red Sea. In Edomite territory, he uses their harbors, their copper, their labor. Detail: Edomite hands, green with copper dust, loading ingots onto ships that will make another man rich. The older serving the younger, over and over and over. Then Edom breaks free. 2 Kings 8:20. Under King Jehoram of Judah, Edom revolts. They throw off Israel's garrisons. The text says plainly, Edom has been in rebellion against Judah to this day. The chain snaps, but the hatred does not. Centuries pass, conquest, revolt, conquest again. Amaziah of Judah kills 10,000 Edomites in the Valley of Salt and renames their capital Joktheel. But you cannot kill a grudge by renaming its city. Edom endures, and through each century of blood, the identity hardens until opposition to Israel is the only thing left inside it. How much of who you are is built on what you are against? How much of your identity exists only because of a wound you refuse to release? A bowl of red stew sits on the ground of a battlefield, cold, congealed, flies circle it. The golden light is gone, the clay is cracked, the same bowl. Darker now, the meal that started a nation is rotting on the ground where that nation bleeds. The historian Josephus, writing in the 1st century, records that Edomites were known in the ancient world for a single trait above all others: their unrelenting hatred of the Jews. Not their architecture, not their trade, their hatred. That was the entire civilization's epitaph. The smoke you have been watching behind the mountains across the sections growing closer. It is the smoke of Jerusalem. It is still in the future. But Edom is already watching, already waiting for the day their brother's city burns. And when it does, they will not weep, they will celebrate. The year is 586 before Christ. Babylon is marching on Jerusalem, and Edom is sharpening its knives. Not to fight Babylon, to cheer. 586 before Christ. Nebuchadnezzar's battering rams cracked Jerusalem's walls like bone. The temple, Solomon's temple, the dwelling place of God on earth, is burning. Columns of black smoke rise so high they are visible 50 miles away, across the desert, across the mountains of Seir. And on those mountains, Edom is watching. Psalm 137:7 preserves the memory. Remember, O Lord, against the Edomites the day Jerusalem fell. And then the words that cut. Tear it down, they cried. Tear it down to its foundations. They are not just watching their brother's city burn. They are cheering, screaming for more. But they do more than cheer. Obadiah 1:14 records what happens at the crossroads south of the city. Edomite soldiers position themselves along the escape routes. Jewish refugees, women, children, the wounded, flee south, trying to reach the wilderness, and Edom is waiting. They grab them, they turn them over to Babylonian captors, brother handing brother to the enemy. See the Edomite soldier's hand on that woman's arm. He does not see a person. He sees Jacob. He sees the stolen blessing. He sees 400 years of his father telling him what was taken. This is 2,000 years of rage compressed into one hand on one arm at one intersection. He squeezes tighter. She screams, and he smiles. A captured Jewish elder is shoved to his knees, blood on his face. The Edomite soldier leans close. "Where is your God now? Where is your blessing?" The old man lifts his head. His eyes are steady. He is watching you, and he remembers. The soldier laughs. He should not have laughed, because God does remember, and he dedicates an entire scroll to the remembering. The book of Obadiah, the shortest book in the Old Testament, 21 verses, every single one aimed at Edom. God did not share the page. The entire scroll is a death sentence. The pride of your heart has deceived you, you who live in the clefts of the rocks, whose dwelling is high. You say, "Who can bring me down?" Though you soar like the eagle, though you set your nest among the stars. From there I will bring you down, declares the Lord. Obadiah 1:10. Because of the violence against your brother Jacob, you will be covered with shame. You will be destroyed forever. The Hebrew word is lolam, forever, not for a season, not for a generation. This is not a threat with an expiration date. This is eternity. Then Obadiah delivers the final line. The house of Jacob will be a fire, the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau will be stubble. They will set it ablaze and consume it. There will be no survivors from the house of Esau. The Lord has spoken. No survivors. Let those words sit. The Lord has spoken means this is not a warning. It is a fact that has not happened yet. The bowl of stew is now a furnace. What began as warm lentils in a tent is now a fire that will consume an entire people. Esau ate, Edom cheered, and now Edom will burn. Ezekiel 35. 5 names, what drives them. Because you harbored an ancient hostility and delivered the Israelites over to the sword. The Hebrew for ancient hostility is ivat olam, hatred that stretches to the vanishing point of time. This is not a grudge, it is an inheritance, passed from Esau's vow to his sons, to their sons, to the soldiers at the crossroads. The hatred became the identity. There is an Edomite instinct in every human heart, the instinct that celebrates when someone who hurt you finally falls, the voice inside that whispers, "Tear it down." You have felt it when someone who wronged you suffers. That flicker of satisfaction. God is listening to that voice, and he remembers what it becomes. After Obadiah, no prophet ever speaks to Edom again. The scroll closes. The voice of God goes silent toward them. When God stops speaking to you, it is not because he has forgotten. It is because the sentence is final. The book of Hebrews remembers Esau one final time. Chapter 12, verse 16. See that no one is godless like Esau, who for a single meal sold his inheritance rights as the oldest son. Afterward, when he wanted to inherit the blessing, he was rejected. Even though he sought it with tears, He could not change what he had done. The New Testament is still warning you about this man. 2,000 years later, the tears did not work then. They do not work now. Edom has been sentenced. The scroll is written. But the curse has one more move, because the Edomites are about to become something else. With a new name, in a new century, they will be called Idumeans, and one of them will sit on the throne of Israel itself. 500 years after Obadiah wrote the death sentence, the Greeks have come and gone. Alexander's empire has risen and shattered. And in the chaos, something strange happens. Around 125 before Christ, the Jewish ruler John Hyrcanus conquers the Edomites and forces them to convert to Judaism. Circumcision, Torah, new name. They are called Idumeans now. They are technically Jewish, but the blood remembers what the name forgot. From this converted people rises a family, Antipater, the Idumean. Clever, ruthless, politically brilliant, he aligns with Rome. He pulls strings, and his son inherits the machine. His son's name is Herod. In 37 before Christ, the Roman Senate appoints Herod king of Judea, an Edomite, on the throne of David. Think about what that means. Esau's descendant ruling from Jacob's city. Herod rebuilds the temple, not out of devotion, out of control. Wide shot, the Temple Mount gleaming in sunlight. White limestone and gold leaf so bright it hurts to look at, one of the wonders of the ancient world. He clothed his usurpation in marble, every stone a lie dressed in glory. But behind the marble, the paranoia is eating him alive. Herod kills his wife, Mariamne, the woman he loved more than anyone. He kills 3 of his own sons. He kills his mother-in-law. Augustus Caesar reportedly said, "It is better to be Herod's pig than Herod's son." The Edomite king devours his own household the way his ancestor devoured that bowl of stew, without stopping to consider what he is destroying. Then the Magi arrive. Matthew 2:1, wise men from the east enter Jerusalem asking one question: where is he who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star. The text says, Herod is troubled, and all Jerusalem with him, because everyone knows what Herod does when he feels threatened. Herod summons his scribes. His voice is controlled, barely. Where does the prophet say the Messiah will be born? The scribes glance at each other. Bethlehem of Judea, for so it is written by the prophet. Herod's jaw tightens. Bethlehem, 5 miles south. He tells the Magi, "Go, search carefully for the child. Report to me so that I too may worship him." The lie drips like honey from an Edomite mouth. The Magi are warned in a dream. They go home by another route. Herod waits. Days pass. He realizes he has been outsmarted. And the Greek word Matthew uses for what happens next is ethumothe. He burned with rage. The same fire Obadiah prophesied. The furnace inside the Edomite bloodline flares one final time. Matthew 2:16. He gives the order, kill every boy in Bethlehem and the surrounding area, 2 years old and under. This is not strategy. This is not politics. This is Esau trying to kill Jacob one final time. The Edomite reaching across 2,000 years to strangle the Jewish Messiah in his crib. Soldiers move house to house, torchlight on bronze helmets, a boot on a threshold, a mother's hand reaching for a child that is being taken. Jeremiah 31:15, Rachel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted because they are no more. The sound of Bethlehem that night is the sound of Esau's scream in Isaac's tent, returned with interest across 100 generations. But God, an angel appears to Joseph in a dream. Get up, take the child and his mother, flee to Egypt. Joseph wakes in the dark. Mary gathers the infant. They leave Bethlehem that very night, carried out of Herod's reach into the same country where another Edomite prince once fled as a child. Egypt, the exile's road. God uses the enemy's escape route to save his own son. Do you see it now? The line is unbroken. Esau wanted to kill Jacob. Edom blocked Israel. Edom cheered as Jerusalem burned. And now an Edomite king sends soldiers to murder the Christ child. Appetite, rage, wall, cheer, massacre. Every generation carried the hatred forward, and none of them chose to put it down. One bowl of stew, one vow of murder, 2,000 years of consequence. Josephus records that Herod died of a horrific disease. Gangrenous flesh, worms consuming his body while he was still alive, pain so unbearable his own physicians could not look at him. He died in the Herodium, 5 miles from Bethlehem. The Edomite king died within sight of the village whose children he murdered, and the child he tried to kill was alive in Egypt, breathing, growing, waiting. Herod is buried, but the question remains, what happened to the Edomites? Where are they now? The answer is the most chilling fulfilled prophecy in the entire Bible. You have seen this place in photographs. You may have seen it in movies. This is Petra, the rose-red city carved into living sandstone. Tourists line up to photograph it. But the cliffs they admire were cut by Nabatean Arabs who displaced the Edomites around the 4th century before Christ. The very rocks Obadiah described, you who live in the clefts of the rocks, now belong to someone else. Edom lost even the stones. After the 1st century, the Edomites vanish from history. Not conquered, not exiled, not scattered, simply gone. No Edomite community survives anywhere on earth. No descendants claim the name, no language preserved, no bloodline traced. Obadiah's prophecy. There will be no survivors from the house of Esau. Fulfilled completely. You can book a flight to Jordan right now. You can walk through the SIQ into Petra. You can press your hand against the sandstone Edomites once carved into shelter. But you will never meet an Edomite. They are the only biblical nation that left architecture but no descendants. The buildings survived, the people did not. Now, I need to talk to you directly, not about Edom, about you. Every day you trade something eternal for something you can taste right now. The screen is warm, the birthright is invisible, and you are choosing right now, without thinking about it, the same way Esau did. Your choices do not die with you. They walk into your children's hallways. They become the landscape your grandchildren inherit. Esau chose for 5 minutes. His grandchildren lived in the consequences for 2,000 years. Esau traded eternity for 5 minutes of warmth. Esau's sons traded peace for a blockade. Esau's descendants traded their humanity for a cheer at their brother's destruction. Esau's bloodline traded its future for 1 night of murdered children. And then there were none. But Edom is not the only nation God sentenced before it was born. There is another bloodline, one that begins with a nephew fleeing a burning city, a cave, and an act so dark Moses almost left it out of the record, the Moabites. That story is next. And if you think Edom was disturbing, subscribe now, because you are not ready for what comes next. Edom is not ancient history. Edom is the name for what happens when one moment of contempt becomes a family's identity, a nation's purpose, and a bloodline's extinction. The bowl is still on the table. It is still steaming. And the question has not changed since Genesis 25. What will you trade your birthright for? Tell me in the comments. Was it the massacre in Bethlehem? Was it the old woman at the campfire? Was it the empty mountains? Which moment made you realize this is not just their story? The stew went cold, the nation went silent, and God kept his word.